So today we're going to take a look at how to create powerful story headlines for your blog posts, YouTube videos, or any other form of content that you want. Stay tuned, I'll give you some tips. All right, so if you're trying to write a blog post, create headlines, or just about anything out there to capture attention, such as lead magnet sales pages, that kind of thing, I want to show you a nice little tip and insight, little technique, a formula to be able to create some powerful story-based headlines that kind of are emotional and gravitating and capture people. So here's how we can go in and do something like this. So powerful story headlines. So a basic headline might say how to make awesome YouTube thumbnails. Okay, so if this is like your headline for a YouTube video or a blog, you've got a how-to. So how do we make it a little more powerful? Well, here's the formula. It's basically how, and then we include kind of the story part, the emotional part. Then we'll include our keyword for our niche and then the details. Okay, so here's the breakdown for it. Okay, so if I was to rework that headline, it would be how I, now by using this word, that'll take people into the story part, how I make, and you could say awesome YouTube. So you could say how I make YouTube, because awesome is not really as useful of a word, YouTube thumbnails that generate or that get clicks. Now, how do I make this even more powerful? Let's go into even more detail. So I could take this detail here and make it even more specific. So we'll do the same thing over here, how I make YouTube thumbnails that get conversions or that get on average, let's say 1,375 clicks in 24 hours. So you can see how this now becomes much more specific. And it's just really the premise of, number one, doing the how, and then how I, converting instead of how to, we go how I make YouTube thumbnails that get clicks, or how I make YouTube thumbnails that get on average 1,375 clicks in 24 hours. So by going into further detail, you can see that the details part actually is very important because it sucks people into the story of it. Give me the story of how you generate these results. Give me the story of how all this happens and how you are able to do that. So that's really what it's all about. And if you can suck people in, you can do this with all kinds of different headlines. So for example, if you're taking into anything from, instead of a how-to, we could say, okay, well, let's scratch this. How I lost belly fat, because it's kind of a popular thing, in 6 weeks, right? So that kind of starts to become more specific. But it's more of like, hey, how do I make it even more specific? So I drill down further, how I lost, my belly fat in 6 weeks and was able to fit in a bikini by summertime. So again, just digging deeper and more specific. If you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the specificity, that's going to be better off. Using the word I instead of to, that's also going to suck people into that. Anything that you're doing where you can just be much more specific, drilling further and further and further without making this part being too long should help that conversion on your headlines, and it really creates some powerful headlines for your blog posts, YouTube videos, and much more. So I hope you like this little tip and insight, and it gives you some more creative ways to coming up with powerful headlines for your YouTube videos or your blog posts or sales pages for that matter, and maybe gives you some things to think about. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Feel free to grab some PDF checklists. I've got some also headline tips and insights as well as freebies on my website if you want to click the link right down below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.